between his heat. Hit him with the jab, get a good look. Good look, good look, good look, good look, good look, good look. ISO zones, breaking bones. Put your hands up when you getting sent home off a good look. Good look, good look, good look, good look, good look, good look. It's the Good Look Podcast. It's the Good Look Podcast. It's the Good Look Podcast.
Yes, sir, and welcome to episode 46 of the Good Look Podcast. I'm your host, Leonard Pinckney, a.k.a. Agent P, a.k.a. L Pinckney, here to give y'all another episode, and I got my guy with me, Manny. Had to hop on the pod one time. Manny, introduce yourself to the peoples.
What's up? Longtime friend of Leonard since high school. People know me as Manny, just hooping, love talking ball with the guys, especially Leonard, whenever we can.
Yeah, exactly, man. We've been, like Manny said, we go way back. All we do is talk about basketball pretty much. That's what we've been our whole lives through. High school is like, high school, we graduated 2011, so that's like 08 till 2011, freshman year, that you just got a Celtics title, so that was fun. I'm still trying to feel that feeling, so I know it's been a minute for you, but at least you got a storied franchise, so yeah. That's something to be proud of, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 08 was kind of when I started being a fan.
We're not going to correlate that to nothing. We just go say.
Yeah. I rode with them, though. I rode with them. Down the struggles, too.
Give them their story, though. Why? Because no, how many people you know from San Diego really like the Celtics? We'll get into the Celtics later in the pod, but, yeah, why are you a Celtics fan?
Yeah, it was just super random, honestly. This story is pretty dumb, but yeah. I was at Chili's with my mom, and I saw the news of the KG and Ray going to the Celtics, and I was like, wait, I think I know Kevin Garnett. I didn't really start watching basketball like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start watching basketball. I like the team. They like green. I like that color.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to just ride with them. And then they won a title. I mean, I wasn't really like that into it, so they won a title, and I was hyped.
Mm-hmm.
I was happy that they beat the Lakers.
Yeah.
And then after that, I just rode with it.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because, yeah, you probably, if they win a title like within the next 3 years or whatever, you'll be like, that'll really feel it because you'd be riding with the team, ups and downs. That one, you get caught up in the shits. You just like, oh, snap, I already got a team. This is what's up. It's going to be like this every year.
Exactly. It's like the elation I felt when like the Eagles won the title.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
What I want to feel with the Celtics eventually.
Oh, yeah. So we will see. Let's go ahead and get into the news of the week. But first, if you're listening, please review 5 stars on the pod, all the DSPs. Appreciate the reviews and all the likes as well and the listens. On the YouTube side, if you're watching this in the videos, please like, rate, comment, and subscribe to the pod. We got over 20 plus, so look out, world. We're about to be blowing people up. It's crazy out here. So thank you guys for getting the views up and all that. It's really appreciated. Yeah, we're going to get right into it. So we got news for the week, injury news just to start us out. D'Angelo Russell out 4 to 6 weeks. Removal of a loose body in his knee. So, of course, NBA Twitter going to have different stats for everything. They put out that since the Karl-Anthony Towns or since the D'Angelo Russell trade, him and Cat have only played 5 games together because they're always hurt. And guess what? D'Angelo Russell hurt again, and after Cat came back from COVID and stuff. So, man, what do you make of this right now?
Honestly, it sucks because he was playing so well on the Warriors last year before he got traded, and he only didn't play when they were resting him.
True.
Because he had a big workload because Steph was hurt, and then we had the hype. Mm-hmm. He got traded and he was going to be best friends playing together, and they were hyped, and they just not have been able to get on the court together.
That's what talked about a little bit on the last pod too, just situation, and sometimes it's just luck as well. Cat's been dealing with one of the worst years a basketball player could have, just a person in general could have, and then D'Angelo just he's not the most sturdy dude, but it didn't feel like he was this injury prone, and then they're both just coinciding with each other. It's wild. This is a little bit of a tangent, but like what if you had Russell on the Warriors team this year, how do you think that would even like change the dynamic of that squad right now?
I don't know, because Steph is just cooking
Steph
by
is
himself.
killing it. Yes, he is.
And honestly, I know like we give Andrew Wiggins a lot of shit,
For sure.
especially in fantasy basketball because of his percentages and stuff. And I made the dive this year, and I just picked him up.
Yeah.
And honestly, he's been solid.
Yeah, he's been fine.
Very solid. Like he's a good, solid wing defender. And he plays good defense. He takes the open shots when he gets them. In the second, when it's the second unit, he does his job. He can run. They run the
exactly.
So with like D'Lo being there, I don't know. I don't think it would have been a good fit because it would have been Steph, Clay, and then D'Lo.
True. They would have been thinking that Clay was back. So yeah, you're right.
I mean, I don't think D'Angelo would be the type to just come off the bench and go to work.
Yeah.
But if he wanted to, then that would be nasty. So that's a legitimate, like, 20-point scorer just coming off the bench, just doing his job.
Exactly.
Helping them try to get a title. But, like, I think Andrew is a better fit because, like, it'll be Steph, Clay, Wiggins, and then Dre. And then Weissman when he gets more PT and stuff. So
yeah,
I think that's a better fit.
No, I agree with you as well. D'Angelo obviously would be the better distributor, and maybe that works a little bit more with Steve Kerr's offense. But even if you want to take super small sample size, those first couple games Steph played before he broke his hand last year, they was getting tore up, and that was with D'Angelo and Steph in the backcourt. So being that much of a liability defensively would be tough. But back to just the Minnesota point, hopefully they can get healthy, man, and they can find out a little bit of something that's going on with this Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell pairing. I said before the season started in the preview, it don't really matter because neither of them play any defense anyway. So they're trying to figure it out. They picked Jarrett Culver last year. They don't really like him. He doesn't play, but because Anthony Edwards has been hooping and he's the first pick, so he deserves to get that time. They have pieces that are there. They just don't all fit yet, and they're all just too young. So they're way too young to try to really become a winner at this point. Once again, worst record in the league. Back to the Warriors. That pick, goddamn. Can you believe that pick?
Got swindled. right under them.
They're gonna. We can talk about that later, but the Warriors using that pick, whether they want to use it this year or next year, is gonna be. Yeah, it's a really big asset to have. So, other injury news: Anthony Davis had a calf strain. This is the same thing that they said about Kevin Durant before he popped his Achilles. Let's hope we don't see the same thing happen to this man because we love having the great players in the league play despite them playing for the most annoying franchise in the league. It was one of those things where we see everything in slow motion now, so we can see like when Marcus Smart he hurt his calf, you could see it wasn't his Achilles, and that's what everyone was scared of first. His calf literally popped. So his calf muscle like popped. So that was kind of scary. AD, it didn't look like that. He just stepped, and it looked like it just re-aggravated what they called Achilles tendinosis, which is just a weird term to say like the tendons around the Achilles are swollen. So he's going to reevaluate it 2 to 3 weeks. It's going to be 3 weeks. They're not letting this man come back for probably at least a month, at least what I'm thinking. So going to hit you with the first take undisputed question. How is this going to affect LeBron moving forward? No, I'm not going to do that. That's annoying. But how does it affect the team going forward, and what do you think they should do in terms of handling him?
In terms of handling, I feel like they should take their time
there.
They have LeBron. They have a solid team even without Anthony.
Yeah.
And they can just play this. It's not the toughest schedule, 72 games. So they'll have some easy games and whatnot. I mean, I know they had a hard time with OKC and the Pistons going to double overtime and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just feel like they should wait it out just so that the KD thing doesn't happen with Anthony. And AD does have a injury history.
Yeah. It's nothing major, knock
Yeah.
on wood. It's all just, not knock on wood, it just hasn't happened yet. It's always weird shit. It's always ankle, arm, shoulder. It's just something weird all the time with them.
Always minor, and he'll miss like 5 games. Or just like goes for a rebound, sprains his finger. It's.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't happen last year, which was the godsend because
Yeah, exactly.
he went the whole year of just what's it called, injury free. And I mean, I understand like before he didn't miss that many games. It was like he played 70 out of 82. It's not a big deal, but he also wasn't going deep into the playoffs.
No, it's a big deal. They were winning in 5 games each series. The Laker fans will remind you of that for sure. We will move off the topics. Hopefully, D'Angelo and AD, you guys get healthy soon. And hopefully see you back on the court and see what it goes from there.
This is when I just want to add. This is when losing Dwight and JaVale kind of hurts them.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
they
exactly. Who still can make incredible passes, but defensively, it just isn't the player that he used to be. Yeah. It puts a lot of onus on guys like Montrez to step up more and play for them in bigger spots. We'll see how it goes. They have the number 1 defense, and it's because mostly of Anthony Davis. So we'll see how that rating kind of wavers, whether it stays. It's going to probably go down as the season goes on. All-Star protocols, this isn't too crazy, but the All-Star game's going to happen. Yeah. For like whatever that is. They're going to be able to have family members have a limited amount of people at the event. It says 4 per guest. They have to be tested regularly. The guys who are going to be in the All-Star competition, they have to arrive on March 6th, all the events, and then the game happens the next day. So they'll have to travel there privately, and then as soon as the game's over, it's literally like getting eliminated from the bubble. You're out. So doesn't have to be specific thoughts on this, just whatever your thoughts whatever comes to your head in terms of us doing this All-Star game this year.
I don't get it. I really don't. I mean, you just come in the night before, play the game, and then leave.
Yeah.
Like why I don't get like the need to bring family members.
Right.
If you're gonna do it, just go play and then just leave and go hang out.
Especially with everything being in one day.
Yeah. So there's no real All-Star activities. It literally says they can't leave unless it's for All-Star activities. It's just the night before and then the game. And then, I mean, the All-Star game is not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like the shortened season, like shortened off season as well. So you might as well just let them get the rest for the period of time that they have.
Yeah, I've talked about the ridiculousness of it. I don't think we need to really go into it too much further. So it's going to happen, and it just is what it is. Draymond. So Draymond Green decided to sound off. He was not asked this question. He just brought it up because he saw it happen in his game.
Yeah.
Andre Drummond was warming up before the game, and then he ended up putting on street clothes because there's talks and reports that Drummond is going to get traded or bought out. So the team is sitting him out so he doesn't get hurt in order to see or keep his value where it is and then see what's out there for him in terms of a trade. Draymond pretty much came out in his interview or his post game and said it's a double standard. It's BS that when a player wants to leave, they can get a lot of grief and a lot of turmoil goes to them. But when a team decides they want to let a player go, they don't really receive that much criticism. There's just a double standard. LeBron came in and defended and doubled down on it as well. These comments are really interesting because they can go in like a lot of different directions. So where do you want to take it?
I agree and I don't.
Okay.
From the examples he was giving, I was like, those are not good examples.
Yeah, they don't really make sense. That's what I was getting.
Yeah, when he brought up James Harden and Kyrie, I was like, those don't correlate.
You picked two of the worst.
So it didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Because Kyrie was like, just left. Didn't say anything. He didn't ask for a trade, and no one was trading him. He just dipped for a week and said nothing except for his teammates.
Exactly.
Harden is not a good example because he was definitely dogging it.
Everybody knew.
Absolutely dogging it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he didn't do any off-season work with the team, and when he did, he was like out of shape and like all of this stuff, all the reports.
Exactly.
But in his like, for what the premise that he was saying was, I agree. Like,
yeah,
teams, they don't get any slack. They traded Harrison Barnes mid-game. There was just there's a bunch of instances where they'll just do anything that's beneficial to them.
Mm-hmm.
But when Anthony Davis did it, I agree that was BS because
the way they went about it is what you mean.
Yeah. He tried to do it privately, and then they weren't budging. So he was like, "Yo, Rich Paul, like, can you put it out?"
Mm-hmm.
He got fined, and then they're just so he doesn't get hurt, just sitting him.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, there's outrage, and then when they just sat him, it was like, "Oh, that's cool." They don't want to diminish his value. So, like, when I ask for a trade, how is that diminishing my value?
Yeah.
They're still the same player.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I saw it at first. I saw it from, like, the way you said it didn't really make sense because he's using examples that, like, curtail a different point. He's using Andre Drummond, and you could talk about Blake Griffin as well because Blake's also being held out. They're using the examples of these guys sitting out versus someone like a James Harden being attacked, or when anybody who tries to make a trade demand gets attacked. First of all, it's true. Teams don't really get as much grief for these actions that they have. And players will decide that, hey, I can use my power to try to get this trade. It'll get me out. But you have to, even though we are in the player empowerment era, there's a couple of things. You have to know where you're at and know what has been done before you. Everyone who asks for a trade pretty much gets shit for it because you're there because you signed a contract. And if you wanted the ability to do whatever you want and go wherever you want, you do the LeBron thing or the Kawhi thing, and you sign the 1 year and you put the pressure on the team to create a good franchise for you and put a good squad around you for that season. If you give yourself the 5 years, you're giving up that ability to make the choice for the financial security. And the financial security is incredibly handsome. So you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't be mad that a team is doing what it's doing in its best interest and a player tries to do the same exact thing. Like and then the second thing I thought of actually was when teams do these things, they don't do it to the players who are good. They don't want to get rid of great players. Look at Washington right now. They're trash, even though they beat my team last night. It's just fucking ridiculous. Bradley Beal's an insane player. They will get a lot of value for him, but they don't want to trade him because he's that good, and it's really hard to find players that good. Teams will do this for guys where they don't actually help the team win, and that's when. But those moments don't get any notice. Like if a guy's averaging 2 points a game in 12 minutes, he's going to get let go. Are we going to talk about him? No, because the team is in the right. Most of the time when teams are either letting guys go or trading them, it's usually because it is in the benefit of the team. And why else wouldn't they do that? They have to do what's best for the organization. Plus, you can't really – the organization is just the label. Like you can't get mad at the label. It's a lot easier to get mad at the singular player who has the handle on Twitter, who you can DM or request talk real easy. You can get at that person, but talking to the overall team or whatever, teams are going to do what they can do to try to make their organization better because that's their best interest. The self-interest of the player is a singular person. So you are going to receive more blame in that situation based on contract factors, based on how you handle the situation, just things like that. So I thought Draymond had some good points. It's true, like the characteristic stuff sometimes gets attached a little too hard for some people, depending on how they do it. But I think it was almost like when Shaq was like trying to criticize Donovan Mitchell, like that was really stupid. The way you could like, if you were being as nice as you could possibly be, you could see what Shaq was trying to do, I guess, but it just came out completely wrong. I think
crazy. That was just insane.
It was like,
You can't just say that to a professional.
Yeah, I know, that's
after
stupid.
a big win. That doesn't make sense.
After he went to work and I don't believe in you, and I was going to tell you that. So what do you think now? It's like, what the hell are you talking about?
To take it back
Yeah.
to what you were saying, Drummond, he doesn't fit in their current plan because they got
Exactly.
Jared Allen from the trade from the Nets.
Somehow. How that happened.
So I mean, in that specific instance, it's beneficial to both of them.
Yeah.
Where he sits, doesn't get hurt, so he doesn't lose his trade value, and he can go to a situation.
He
that's
doesn't
better
lose
for him.
money.
Yeah.
They're still paying this man. I wish I could get Andre Drummond's salary and just warm up for games, man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, and I feel like his argument was very based on what the media and fans do.
Yeah.
Where it's just the outrage of like, oh, you want to trade to go somewhere else? What, like the fan perspective of it is very warped.
Exactly.
Completely warped. I mean, obviously I have those things as well for my team,
Mhm.
but then like when you take a step back, it makes sense.
True.
Like if someone so let's say Jason is on the team for 5 years, he gets drafted, and then up to this point we haven't done anything.
Yeah.
Would he sign his extension? No.
Why would you?
Exactly. So he might just be like, yo, you know what? I don't want to wait until free agency. I want to go somewhere else. This is a shortened season. I feel like I could win somewhere else, just like James Harden did.
Yeah.
It's not a huge deal. He's doing what's beneficial to him and his situation. So it works both ways. They do what's best for them. I feel like it just shouldn't be a big of an outrage for the media and fans. They should just take it as is. I understand different situations require different responses. The James Harden thing, he just got tired of it.
Yeah.
It's just a constant thing. He just carrying them all the time. He's averaging 35, 11 assists. So, I mean.
Yeah, people would have been cool with James, you get it, man. Like what you've been doing, but like it's the way he went about it.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's the way he went about it, man. You can't be hitting nightclubs up, and it's COVID and hitting up little baby and stuff. Like, what are you doing, dog? That just looks.
You were in Vegas. Oh, I was with my trainer. No, you weren't. Don't do that.
Right. And that just goes into like the little part or the section of like NBA and NBA fans, different circles who like they give credence to the guys who say, oh man, look, they can just do whatever they want. It's a players' league. They can act however they want. And it sucks because that looks like exactly what's happening, because James threw a pissy fit and now he's on the best offense in the NBA and leading it and doing incredible things for that Brooklyn Nets team. I picked him to win a title, and I didn't think it would be in this manner, but I mean, pick is still my pick. That offense is ridiculous, man.
To 140 every game. Man.
I know. To try to go up against that for 7 games is gonna be insane. It's because it was already hard enough if you're gonna game plan for Kyrie and KD, but now you got Harden to deal with too, who's handling all the ball handling responsibilities pretty much, and you have Joe Harris, knockdown shooter on that team. It's insane.
And I mean, the crazy part is Kyrie's shooting. Well, Kyrie and KD are shooting 50 and 40.
Yes.
From field and 3, and they're both averaging over 25. So I mean, that's tough. And then James is leading the league in assists.
It's stupid. I tweeted this a while ago. I was like, I need fans to come back just so field goal percentages can be normal again. Like I think it's really affecting players in a good way, just not having to deal with the pressure of like fans and stuff. And it's bumped up a lot of guys. I can't remember the stat exactly, but there's like 40-ish guys averaging 20 a game this year.
Oh yeah, the list is long.
Yeah, it makes no damn sense. Like I get we're scoring more and it's a different era, but that many people averaging 20 a night just feels a little bit inflated. So I mean,
come on, Leonard. Jeremy Grant.
Man, at 43.
His jump from last year to this year I don't even know.
Man,
Like if he had done that for you guys maybe won a title.
I know, for your 9-win Detroit Pistons now.
Yeah.
It's so stupid. He had 43 and 0 last night. My man's pulled a Kobe with no assists out here, and they still ended up getting a dub. They got the loss, actually. Zach LaVine ended up having 37, who's been insane. Another guy. He's averaging 28. He was averaging 25 last year. So he's kind of just on the upward trajectory. He's doing fine. But so that was the Draymond point. We'll talk about the guys who actually spun the conversation a little bit. Andre Drummond, Blake Griffin. So Andre Drummond, his situation is different because he's a free agent after this year. He had a $28 million option to accept last year for this season. He obviously was going to take it because no one in their right mind was going to give his ass $28 million. Shit. Blake is tough because, man, the other day I watched Blake highlights from 2014, and just to see the player that he was then to what he is. Like, he was maybe like top 3 to 5, like legit. People thought this dude was that. He was averaging like 24, 10, and 6. Like, he was that dude, and the athleticism was insane. He would try to dunk everything possible. I still think I think it's a little underrated. No one talks about that much. The 2014 Olympic team, it was gonna have him on it, but
and then he
hurt his knee.
Yeah,
that was the year when like he did like a bunch of dunks for like all those kids in high school who ended up being pros, like D'Angelo Russell. He ain't stretched though, like that clip. Yeah. He was supposed to be on that goddamn team. If Blake was out there in the Olympic team, hooping with, oh my god, the dunks,
glass,
oh my,
banging on these corners.
It would have been so dope, man. But now he's just a completely different player. It's crazy because that first year he got traded to Detroit, or the first full year, he ended up being All-NBA third team. So he was still a really good player for that first part of that deal, and then the injuries have just caught up to him way too much. There's the stat out. He hasn't dunked in like a year and a half. It's just – yeah, I know. He hasn't dunked in a year and a half. It's crazy. And he has – $38 million on the books this year and a player option for $39 next year. So you are signing up for $78 million of Blake Griffin for the next 2 seasons, because he for damn sure is taking that player option next year. So we'll start with Drummond. There's been some teams who said they have interest. What do you think are maybe the best spot or a couple good spots for him?
So I actually wrote down a couple.
Yeah.
I'm going to just fire them off. I got Nets, Boston, Toronto, the Clippers, Blazers, or maybe the Warriors if they really want to get like a big.
Okay.
It looks like the Raptors are the ones that are really interested.
Yeah.
From what I read today, they're looking to maybe try to get him because, I mean, they have Boucher and then they have Aaron Baines, so they could use the help.
They could definitely, because their big duo of Ibaka and Gasol it's kind of underrated for how effective they were last year, and it shows itself this year. They started off really slow. They played a little bit better over the last couple of games. Now they're a top 8 seed again, but they're definitely just not as good as last year.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like because I watched like every game for the Celtics Raptors series, and like just Gasol didn't have it, so I'm sure that's why they just let him go, because he was so every pick and roll they would just abuse him.
Oh yeah, they would eat it up.
Yeah, and I just feel like they were like, yeah, we can't do this anymore. So I mean, Andre would be he would be a good upgrade on any of these teams.
True.
The Nets, they would be unbeatable if they got Drummond. But like, who are you gonna give up? It's really
true.
You'd have to slash your depth even more, and like you really don't have the picks for it.
And it's twofold, because we're talking about whether it's going to be a trade or a buyout. Buyout opens the floodgates for almost everyone. If you're trying to trade, you got to match a $28 million salary. And I don't know. I honestly don't think he's going to get traded. I think he's going to get bought out, and then this stuff is going to be crazy when he's on the waiver wire to see who's going to pay the minimum for him. Because Yeah, man. I don't imagine anyone trying to find another $28 million to trade for him. When he originally got traded from Detroit just for a second-round pick, that's how much trade value he had last year. It hasn't really increased since then, so it's going to be tough to see anyone try to trade for him.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Celtics have like a $32 million exception from Gordon.
Yeah.
But for just a rent out, I mean, I don't think you would do that. You might as well just trade for someone else or use it on something else.
We'll talk about those Celtics in a second.
Yeah. I mean, the Blazers, I mean, they have Nurk, but he seems to always keep getting injured.
True.
And
Zach Collins always hurt.
Yeah. And then the Clippers, it would obviously be an upgrade, but
I love the Clippers idea. I think that's a real good idea, actually.
Yeah,
Zubac is aight, but I mean, if you're the Clippers, the one thing you're trying to do is when you're trying to beat the Lakers, you need someone to bang with 80. So Drummond, he's an okay defender, but he's a big body and he's agile enough to where he could at least make it a little hard on him. Zubac ain't doing shit. So I think it would be a solid move for the Clippers. And if you only had to give up a pick or something, or wait till he becomes a free agent after he gets bought out, that'd be a huge upgrade for them.
I mean, it would be Pat Bev, PG, Kawhi, Ibaka, and then Drummond. That's it's a good defensive team.
You can win a title with that team. Yeah. That's really good.
Yeah. I mean, and then the Warriors, that was just a toss-up. I just feel like they've always been looking for a center since Bogut.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, when they won it with KD, they just had JaVale, and like they were just throwing shit around, and they could do whatever they wanted, so it didn't really matter.
Got you. Like I said, like when I thought about it, Clippers sounded good. The Celtics do sound like a good idea. Tice, I feel like there's just a ceiling on his play. They can only do so much with that guy. And Drummond just offers more versatility in terms of a guy who can defend, rebound, and be a pick and roll kind of player.
But we have Tristan Thompson for that.
That is disgusting. Oh my! We'll talk about that later. The other dark horse team I had was Dallas, especially if he gets bought out. I think if you get Porzingis healthy, and they don't want to have Porzingis playing the 5 all that much just because they like the court spaced, at least having one guy who could be the pick and roll guy, and having Andre Drummond, if he only has to focus on a couple things, and that's defend and rebound, he's really good at that. He's averaged like 13 to 15 rebounds every year the past 4 seasons. So his stats in that regard are incredible. So if he had someone like Luka to spoon feed him open shots and things like that, I would consider Dallas to be a landing spot. But other than that, it's not like a lot of teams are really looking for a big. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes, which leads into Blake, because Blake is, we already documented, he's damaged goods. And a power forward who's making that much money, how do you even –
I don't know.
What do you do with that, man?
I think – I don't know who said it. It might have been Stephen A. said maybe back to the Clippers.
Stephen A. just be saying stuff, man. He's like, oh, somebody available? Let's put him on the Clippers. Like, he tried to put Bradley Beal on the Clippers. Who the hell are the Clippers going to trade for Bradley Beal, man, when they gave all their picks to OKC? What is he talking about?
Who was going to be the point guard, Bradley? He doesn't want to be point guard.
He just be saying stuff, man.
Honestly, when I looked at the teams for Blake, I was like, I have no idea who would want him.
It's funny, I have the same answer. I don't know.
I don't know, and it's scary because I'm like, dude, I don't think anyone would want him, so he might not play ball anymore. It's sad.
It's funny. It's a little funny, but you're right. It is sad. He has to get bought out. He has to get bought out, and if Detroit might have to. They might have to eat like $60 million or something and just say, "Hey, we're not gonna play you anymore." Unless you're sending like significant money to another team in order to eat his deal.
Yeah,
it's not Russell Westbrook-esque, but if Russ gets hurt like one more time, it might be in that same caliber, because having to pay 78 for Blake the next 2 years, you just can't do it, man.
Yeah, he's just so much of a shell of himself. It's like kind of sad to watch. Like,
I know.
amazing. Like Derrick Rose, it's sad. I mean, it used to be sad, like maybe two seasons, like after he kept coming back.
Yeah.
But then he finally evolved his game, and like he's nice now.
Yeah, exactly. He was traded for.
Yeah,
like,
he'll never be like the old Derrick Rose, which we all love.
mm-hmm.
But he evolved his game to still be able to play. With Blake, he's just constantly getting injured all the time. Yeah. And like, I mean, he's not the greatest rebounder. He usually did that with like his athleticism, jumping and stuff. And like, I mean, yeah, he can shoot the three and like he can pass kind of, but like the constant cloud of just him being always injured, I don't think it'll work for teams.
Yeah, I don't see. Usually, like these things happen to where the ending isn't really like that great. Like Carmelo's getting like a real nice renaissance right now, which is dope.
Yeah,
I think Blake, once his deal runs out, he might get one more shot with some team on a minimum, and he's probably done. And that's crazy to say because he's still in his early 30s. He's only 32, 33 years old, so it's not like he's that old NBA wise. But it's sad, man. It's crazy. We don't really have a spot for him unless he gets bought out and some team just like takes a pass on him. But
he definitely had to come off the bench.
Oh yeah, he'd have to come off the bench, and then like it was funny when Jeremy Grant actually signed with the Pistons. I was distraught as hell, and I was like, "Are they sending back Blake Griffin?" I was like, "At least that's something." But in hindsight, knowing that he's just is where he is health wise, there's just no going back with Blake, unfortunately. Players of the week. We have our players of the week. When we discussed this before the pod, it was funny because it was like, Saddiq Bey, what the hell? He averaged 18 and 5, shot 69% from three, nice. And the Pistons had a 3-1 week. Like, was no one else hooping this past week in the East? Like, what? Saddiq Bey.
Actually, I looked into it. No one else was. The Nets had 3 games and they went 2-1, and their loss was to the Pistons. I mean, you could have given it to Harden just based off stats because he was 28 and 11, but I feel like he shot like 50% from three, right, Saddiq?
He shot 69% from three in the 4-game stretch.
Yeah, so I mean, he might have deserved
it. I'm not gonna rain on this parade too much. He's a rookie. He's finally getting a little bit more run. Detroit has been very down this year, so for any bright spots they have, they deserve all the shine they can get. So shout out to Saddiq Bey. And then the West, made a little bit more sense. Devin Booker, 32, 5-5 for the 4-0 week Suns. He's, after getting off to a little bit of a slow start in terms of his standards, he's back to averaging 24 a game. He's starting to look like Devin Booker again, and he definitely deserved that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he definitely stepped up last week without Chris in a couple games, I think. And he's definitely this year sacrificed because of Chris and like just diving into like the whole team perspective with Monty Williams and Chris Paul like leading them. So I mean, it's been really good because what are they, like 5th or 4th in seeding?
The Phoenix Suns, they're let's see. Phoenix Suns are 6. Yeah, they're 6 in the West.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I mean, earlier this season when they started, they were first for a while. So they've kind of been ebbing and flowing, but it looks like they're going up right now, playing really good ball.
Yeah, and I just love the makeup of their team because of the guys like Cam Johnson and Bridges. They're literally just plug and play, man. Drop them anywhere. They'll be able to fit in any offense and defensive scheme. Overall, that team is just really nice. They're going to be solid in the playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see once the matchups happen how things are going to work out for these teams. But shout out to Saddiq Bey, Devin Booker, players of the week for last week. Before we get into some other things, I'm going to push it along a little bit faster. Utah Jazz, obviously we got to talk about them because they've been hooping like crazy. They won 19 of their last 20, 23-5, best record in the league. 7 of their last 8 wins by double digits. over that stretch, they had the second highest offensive rating, only behind Brooklyn by 1 point, fifth best defensive rating. During that stretch, Donovan Mitchell's averaged 25 a game. 6 other guys have averaged double digits as well. 6. I'm not just saying that. 6. Jordan Clarkson, Ingles, Bogdanovich, Gobert, Conley. They truly do it by committee. Obviously, they have the best record, but do you still think this is the best team in basketball?
Probably not. It just feels like every year with the Jazz. Like,
okay,
this feels like the reverse of what the Jazz usually do. They start slow and then they just bring it up in the second half, and
true.
And then they rise up in the standings and then go into the playoffs, and everyone's like, yeah, they'll give the Rockets a hard time. They might win, and then they get swept.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, last year in the playoffs when they played your Nuggets, I mean, it was exciting, and like I honestly thought they were going to win because obviously they were.
Yeah,
up
I did too. Shoot.
Yeah, so they have the makeup. It's just if they win that first playoff series this year, then they might just get that cloud off their back.
Yeah.
But I do know they've beaten their schedule hasn't been the best.
Yeah, they've beaten some bad teams.
Yeah, I know they beat the Bucks twice, Denver, the Warriors, Dallas twice. I mean, that's not the greatest win, but they beat Boston, Pacers, and 76ers, and the rest of them are just under 500 teams.
Yeah.
So they play Clippers back-to-back this week.
Mm-hmm.
And then next week they'll play the Lakers. Yeah, they might not have Paul George and they might not have Kawhi.
Mm-hmm.
AD won't be there, but those will still be tough matchups. I mean, if they play LeBron, obviously it's going to be a tough match. If Kawhi can play, then it's still going to be a good win if they end up winning. And it depends on how they win, I guess.
True.
If they can just absolutely obliterate them, then that's phenomenal. But if they get the close wins also in maybe all 3 games, then that's phenomenal also. That means they know they're up for the challenge.
Yeah, and right now, if we're just talking like power rankings, then yeah, they're the best team in the league. If you win 19 of 20 games, then only lost to the Nuggets, by the way. Then yeah, you're the best team in the league right now. But for like a lot of us do, like when we're basketball fans, we're projecting. So we're looking to see how this will look in the postseason when it really counts. And I think that's the biggest question to ask with this team. Obviously, everyone, like, we want regular season success, especially in this year. You don't want to be below the 6th seed because you don't want to be in the play-in. The high-end talent is the biggest question with this team. I was going to ask, what are they missing? So I'll start off with that now. Donovan Mitchell, great player. But there are certain guys in this league, when we look at the history of, like, basketball, like, who is that dude on that team that leads you to a title? It's usually the same best players. Like, just past seasons, it's Kawhi, it's Steph, it's KD, it's LeBron multiple times. Like, it's the best of the best, unless some weird thing happens, like a Toronto season or like a Maverick season. But we ain't even gonna do that because Dirk was a beast in 2011.
Ooh,
baby,
yeah.
shout out
He
Dirk.
sure was.
Dirk he was. But yeah, so this Jazz team, they're giving me Atlanta Hawk vibes 2015. Like, I see them being hey man, I know those Hawk, because this team, I think they could get 60 or not in this, it'd be equivalent to like 50 wins this year. So it would be like in a normal year, a 60-win team. They're on pace for that right now, obviously. So they have a lot of guys who play really well, and they're really well coached. Quinn Snyder has always been like renowned for being a sound coach on both ends of the floor, along with wearing incredibly tight pants. So, I mean, they know what they're doing on both ends, and when they're hitting shots, they're the most prolific three-point shooting team in the league. When they're hitting shots, it's really hard to beat them. And when Jordan Clarkson is shooting like a maniac, they're really tough to beat. But this is the way they're starting feels like, to me, a microcosm of the playoffs last year. I don't think they're going to just completely nosedive, but they are really, really playing over their skis right now. They're like a 4 or 5 seed right now that's playing like the best team in the league. And I just, like I've said, that the numbers for a lot of teams feel inflated in terms of shooting percentages. Jordan Clarkson, if you just ended the season right now, yeah, he's the 6th man of the year. I just don't think these guys are going to be able to keep up that level of offensive ability for the entire season. Defensively, I think they'll still always be a top 10 defense. But offensively, I feel like eventually these numbers will regress to the mean, and they'll be a top 3 seed, I think, still based on record and how good they are on both ends. But in terms of them being a contender, I still don't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, Donovan he's elevating himself to be good enough. I mean, if he can keep it up this whole year, then maybe, he's in the conversation. Like, maybe he can lead them, but
is he top 10 right now?
No.
Okay.
I mean, there's so many guys.
I know. I think that's like my point, though. You know.
Yeah. My next point was gonna be like, after him, it's really just up in the air.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's by committee. Gobert isn't an offensive threat like that. Mike Conley isn't what he used to be. And Jordan coming off the bench. So, and he's not going to drop 40 every game.
Yeah.
It's not realistic. So they don't really, maybe they'll just overwhelm teams with their depth. I mean, it could
for a regular season. Yeah. It works. Ask the Atlanta Hawks.
And then maybe they have a 04 Pistons season where they just, but obviously that team was phenomenal. So,
stacked defensively.
Yeah, so we don't really see it being like that. So this is one of those show us type of teams right now because, like you said, it kind of does feel very Atlanta Hawks-ish. If they end up meeting the wrong person in the playoffs, they might just get bumped real easy.
Yeah, exactly. And the playoffs matchups are the biggest thing. Yeah. And we'll see who they get matched up with. But one more question on the Jazz before we move on. Should Donovan Mitchell or Rudy Gobert be getting any MVP love so far? Because I have heard nothing in terms of national media coverage talking about them as either of them being the MVP. I think on one pod I actually heard someone say Rudy Gobert top 10 or something, but I have heard nothing pretty much. It's what the award really is. It's the best player on the best team typically. And no one's talking about either of them.
It's tough. It's tough. I mean, if anything, I would give Donovan some love.
Yeah.
But he's just not putting up crazy stats. He's just
putting up good stats.
Yeah, he's been consistent. He's not putting up stats like KD or LeBron or Steph.
There's levels to it.
Yeah, those guys are going crazy. Paul George, when he was hot, before he got injured, he was in Kawhi, obviously. So he's not having that emphasis in his game where he's just going crazy all the time.
Yeah.
Those guys are doing it consistently. Curry's been averaging 37 in his last 10 games, and he hit 10 threes 3 of those games. It's
ridiculous.
Insane.
Yeah, so I don't think they should get any just yet. If they really are this team the entire season and I have to think about it, then maybe. But just like those Atlanta Hawks teams where no one was thinking Al Horford or Paul Millsap was going to be the MVP of this NBA. Yeah. It's the exact same thing. That's why I keep feeling those vibes with this team. They're going to be good. I'm not trying to I feel like I'm discrediting them more. I'm trying to give them a little credit, but it feels a little reminiscent of what happened a couple years ago in the NBA. No matter how much it changes, no matter what schemes or how much of a 3-point boom we have, it always draws back on the history of the game. And if you look back on who's winning the titles, it's the best players, typically top 5 guys winning these titles. So Utah, you're doing great. Please enjoy your time at the top of the league right now. I just don't really believe in you that much. I'm sorry.
I mean, hey, go crazy. Make us believers. I would love it. It'd be a great story.
Yeah, if you do it, go for it, man. It's the NBA. Unless you're established like that, then you truly do have to show us.
Yeah.
Before we get into your Celtics, one fun thing we're gonna do right now is talk about the All-Star game. So, I would have been happy just having them named because it means a lot in terms of like their contracts and things like that. And being an All-Star in the NBA is a big deal. Like when your name is described, people say 10-time or 8-time All-Star. Like that's a big deal. So, but the game's going to be played, so we'll see what happens. We're going to give you guys the starters because they come out today on TNT. They'll name the starters, and then the coaches will pick. I think it's 50% player and then 25 or 50% fan vote and then 25-25 coach player with the rest. So the starters will get named. I'm going to say my starters, and then I think we're going to be in agreement for the most part. But let me know if there's something different. So I have Jokic, LeBron, Kawhi, and Steph. Do you have those four?
Yeah.
Okay. So my fifth was the one where I actually had a little bit of trouble. Who do you have?
Well, I did it mostly based off what how big the gap in the fan voting is. I feel like it's gonna be Luka. So I put Luka.
Mm-hmm.
Should he be starting? No. It should be Dame.
Yes.
Dame should be starting.
Yes, it should be. Like I thought it was a little bit close because they're both averaging 29. Luka has higher counting stats with the 9 and 8 versus the 7 and 4. The splits, Dame is shooting a lot better from 3 and a lot better from the free throw line. And then the team record is just the biggest difference. Mavs are 13 and 15 and Portland 17 and 10. And without CJ McCollum for Dame to be doing all that, and he's been hooping, man. Dame has been carrying that team. He should be starting that game in the backcourt with Steph. But yeah, like you said, the fan vote is gonna probably push Luka over the top. It's funny because when I was checking out the list too, I was trying to think, is it gonna be is it who I think should versus who do I think is actually gonna get it because of the fan vote and stuff like that. So but yeah, we have the same thought on that. I think it should be Dame. So do you, but it's probably going to be Luka. So we have one reserve, Luka / Dame. Yeah. Reading me off your list, who else do you have?
All right. Even for the East, it looks like there's going to be a bunch of teammates.
I had a lot harder time with the East than the West, but both were still really hard.
Yeah. So I have Dame / Luka.
Mm-hmm.
I have Paul George.
Yeah.
Donovan, Rudy. I have Book finally getting in.
Mm-hmm.
Team success. I have DeMar DeRozan.
Oh, shit.
Spurs success. I mean, they're playing great.
They are, man. They're actually fun to watch.
Yeah, they're playing great. And I feel like due to his team success and him being the leader.
Yeah, they're the 6th seed. 6th seed in the West.
So I feel like they deserve a spot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put AD last only because he's injured.
Yeah.
And he's not going to be able to play. So in his place, I put Chris Paul.
Okay. Yeah. So we are not far off. I have Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Devin Booker as well, and Paul George. So I had Anthony Davis, obviously, same reason you said, but he's not going to play. So I had injury replacements. The two where I differ from you are Zion and then De'Aaron Fox. Now, I know that the Kings and the Pelicans have had terrible seasons so far. Yeah. And Chris Paul's been awesome, man. So I can't poo-poo on it too much. But I think Devin Booker has been good enough to where I don't think Phoenix has been so good that they get 2 representatives where they're just balling out of control. De'Aaron's averaging 23 and 8, having the best start of his career so far. He's playing really well, and Zion is shooting 90% from the field. So it's And even though their team isn't really doing as well, there's certain factors when you're nitpicking the last parts of the roster, and I'm looking at like entertainment factor. Everyone would obviously want Zion to be in that thing, and he has the game to show for it. The record isn't there, but he has played really well for his team, and so is De'Aaron Fox. So even with the losses, it's funny because I will cape a little bit for these guys here in the East. Totally different story for a couple of people. So it's going to be funny when you talk about it that way. You kind of contradict yourself in other ways and some you don't. But it just depends on so many different factors. But that's who I have. I'm not mad at you picking DeMar DeRozan. DeMar's averaging like almost 20, and they're a top 8 seed in the West. And it's really tough to do. It was funny because I saw I forgot who was playing, but I think it was when Denver was playing. I forgot who they were playing, but we were 15-12, and then we were the 7th seed, and then we were playing a team in the East that was 14-12, and they were the 3 seed. So that's how much of that's how much of a difference the West versus the East still is. So that was just a quick point to make, but like I said, I'm not mad at who you guys
I had them. I wrote when I was like making my list. I wrote it. I put Zion and De'Aaron, and I was like, I was just like based off like what in recent history, what's been happening.
Yeah.
Actually, they might put Zion
in.
Because usually
the
there's usually one person off a bad team that gets in.
Yeah.
So they might just put Zion in instead of DeMar. Or Chris Paul. I don't know. It's going to be tough for the last 2 spots.
But just as tough as the West was the East, just a mess, man. But it's fun.
Yeah.
I think there are locks. There's a couple locks in the starting lineup. Giannis, Embiid, and Durant. There's no debate. Absolutely. The backcourt is where there is some debate about it, and I changed my criteria a little bit up for this one versus the West. It's usually some form of these 4 guys. It's Jalen Brown, Bradley Beal, Kyrie, or Harden. So depending on pretty much who you like or cape for, you will come up with the excuse of why they should start or shouldn't start. Right now, leading vote getters are Kyrie and Bradley Beal. But who do you have in those 2 guard spots?
You know the vibes. It's Jalen Brown and Bradley. I feel like they've been playing.
Yeah,
mostly.
That's the point.
Harden and Kyrie have missed a ton of games. I mean, the only games Jalen has missed has been 3 for some rest for his knee, and then the games that he missed for COVID because they got postponed.
Yeah.
And then Bradley's been awesome. He had 2 games last week for rest, but I mean he's on a bad team, so he's been amazing this whole year.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like they both deserve to start over Kyrie and Harden, just because, they're on a super team and stuff, but they just haven't put in as much time as them. I understand that they're phenomenal. They've been playing great when they do play, but they just feel like the games played isn't there, and the consistency for the other 2 has been all year.
Yeah, I got you. And I was almost leaning towards Jalen, man. I wanted to give it to him when the first ballots came out. I voted for him to be a starter because he's been balling out of control on both ends of the floor. He's been the best 2-way player in the East this season. Yeah. Like, no question. I went with the vote getters because this one was pretty much what I thought would happen. Like, Bradley is going to get the starting spot, and I think Kyrie's going to get the other spot as well based off of popularity. And if he didn't miss 9 games, then it probably would be more of a shut case for him just because the offensive numbers are literally insane. Like, I keep talking about these buoys and numbers, man. They're going off in a ridiculous way. He can't be 50, 40, and
it's crazy. I mean, I wrote Kyrie and Beal on my list, but who I think should be Jalen and Beal. But Kyrie's definitely going to start, and if he didn't miss the games due to just not wanting to be there and then later explaining, I mean, I feel like that's just the the cloud over. It's just Kyrie.
Yeah,
Honestly, it's literally all you can say. It's Kyrie.
It's
So,
Kyrie. He's
yeah.
built up this rep to the point now where it's just like you said, it's just Kyrie. That is who he is. But so that's the starters. So I will say my reserves, and I think we're gonna have a lot of deviation here, but we will see. So technically, I know you put who you want as Jalen Brown. So I got Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum, James Harden, Domantas Sabonis, Bam, Julius Randle, and then Benjamin Simmons are the other reserves that I have in the Eastern Conference. So let me know who you got on your side.
Okay, we only have a couple differences.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I got Jalen, I got Jason, I have Sabonis, I have Harden, I have Julius, who's been killing this year.
Yeah, he's been hooping for the Knicks 6 seed too, doing it.
And then for the last two, I had Zach LaVine and Tobias. I put Tobias.
Tobias over Ben. Okay.
Yeah. So he's been second leading scorer on the Sixers, and he's shooting 50, 40, 90.
He is. He's playing.
I mean, so he's
outstanding
been playing
offense.
Yeah,
yes.
Great. So I just feel like he slightly deserves it over Ben, just because.
Okay.
I understand Ben is a great defender. He's averaging 8 and 8 and whatever points he decides to average in the paint.
Yeah.
And just I don't know. Tobias has been awesome all year. I mean, I know more about that because he's on my fantasy team. So he's been great. I just feel like he slightly deserves it over Tobias, and then Zach has just been hooping. So
he's been balling 28 a night. He's been absolutely insane for that team. But it's funny because when I wrote down all the possibilities or the possibles, I had a lot of possibles in the East. Like it was like Brogdon, he's actually the leading scorer for Indiana. Trae Young, hate his game, but he averages 26 and 9. Vucevic has been dropping 23 and 11. Siakam and Van Vliet both averaged 20 for Toronto, and they're now the 6th seed in the East. Gordon Hayward's averaging 22 and 5, so he's having like a career renaissance. There were so many guys that were like on the cusp of possibly making it if they just had one thing moving their favor a little bit more. I ended up picking Simmons because I think he's been the best defender in basketball so far, and I feel like just having we weigh so much offensively with these guys. I feel like Ben should be rewarded for not only being on the best team in the East, but for being the best defender in the Eastern Conference as well. I think that's why I put him over the top. His offensive game is still modest at best, and then he ends up dropping 43 the other night. What is he doing?
I was surprised too.
But yeah, that's where I ended up splitting between him and Tobias, which sucks because Tobias has been playing really well, and I shit on him for his contract all the time. So he shut me up for at least the first half of this year.
Yeah, I just didn't want to put another trio.
Yeah, I didn't think they deserved 3.
Yeah, I mean, it's an obvious thing with Kyrie, KD, and Harden, so they're just gonna get in. The All-Star is a popularity contest. It's off the strength of the name, so they deserve it. And honestly, I considered not putting Harden for a little bit because I was like, dang, this is a lot of people. And I was like, I'm trying to sift through this, and I was like, does Kyle Lowry deserve it for being the leader on the Raptors, and now they're playing great? Does Fred? Does Gordon Hayward? And then like all these bottom teams, and I was like, wow, this is a lot harder than it used to be.
Yeah, no, and then like Beal, he's doing the same thing Trae did last year. Like Trae was a starter because he averaged 30 and 10, but the Hawks were the last place team in the East. Washington is second worst in the East this year, but he's averaging 33 a game. It's just so undeniable at this point. It was like T-Mac in like the Magic years when he was averaging like 30, even though they were bad. It was just like it's undeniable.
It's
he's too good.
Also because like he's the second leading vote getter on the All-Star. So I mean, he's not gonna get snubbed.
Yeah.
Because if it was left off to like reserves, he might not get in. They might be that petty.
Exactly. Off of his record that much. Yeah. Yes.
So I mean, I'm glad he's finally gonna get in. He's deserved it for the last couple of years. So.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, when I saw Trey, I was like, yeah, you're not gonna get it.
Yeah, Trey Young, you can sit down this year. You are turning into one of the most annoying players in the league. I was annoyed with you when you got drafted, and then you was playing well. I was like, I got to back off. Now you're being annoying again. So, and I don't know what's going on in Atlanta. That's also a hodgepodge as well of a franchise, but we don't give Trey too much shine or too much credit for whatever. We got you on this pod for one main reason, and that was to talk about your Boston Celtics. So the Celtics have been affected by – they've been one of, if not the most affected team in terms of COVID and injuries. I know Washington had to take like a week off, but the Celtics have been hit with a lot, not just with postponements, but with individual guys and contract tracing, and it's affected their play. And it kind of shows in their numbers, 16th in the league in offensive rating, 9th in defensive rating. Jason Tatum is averaging 25, so he's still hooping. Would someone argue that Jalen Brown has been their best player this year? He's been averaging 26, 5 and 3 on 51, 41, 75 shooting, so he's been insane. But Kemba Walker, he's played 13 games. He's been struggling, shooting 37% from the field, even though he's averaging 17 a game. Marcus Smart has missed the last 9 games. He hurt his calf, as we talked about a little bit before. So just before I have specific questions, just initial thoughts on how your team's doing so far.
So I'm gonna go struggles and then positive. Just
to,
let the bad taste come out of my mouth.
Go for
it. It's been hard, low key, to watch. It's just they don't have that same like fight to them like that they used to, like maybe last year or 2 years ago.
Okay.
It just because like they started 8-3 and now it's been like since like 6-11 or something like that, and they're just struggling. It's their defense is just not as good as it used to be. Even when we had Isaiah Thomas, like we were top 5 defense.
Exactly, you were.
And he's little, so I don't understand. And also a big component is our bench.
Mm-hmm.
Our bench isn't great.
Yeah.
When we played the Nuggets, which we're going to talk about later,
the
first person off the bench, I don't want to ever see Neesmith, the first person off the bench. I mean, I understand he's a
good shooter.
He's a good shooter in college, and like he hustles and plays, but like he's still a rookie. And like we don't have enough players because Marcus starts. Like when he plays, he starts. So like it's just a toss up for the 6th man right now.
True.
And Pritchard obviously is phenomenal. But he's still a rookie, so he's inconsistent. But I love him. He's great.
He's been playing well.
Jeff Teague, it's just so much. Jeff
hey
Teague,
man, let it out. Let it out.
Jeff Teague is terrible. He had one good game, and it was the opening night when he cooked.
He always does that. He always does great opening night.
He shoots better from 3 than the 2-point. I don't get it. You can't make a floater. I don't.
Man, I don't know.
And then I want Robert Williams to have more minutes.
Get some more run,
Yeah, he's good. He's energetic, and he gets a lot of balls. Obviously they can throw the oop to him. He's good, a solid rebounder. Defensively, he's still iffy, so he's still a little raw in that, but he's still working on it. And then I don't know. Our team is just up and down. We first started off with Tice and Thompson starting, and that just really wasn't great for our offense, and I mean it wasn't great for our defense. Somehow we got to 8-3, but it just wasn't flowing right. Daniel Tice has been playing great for like the last week or so. 3-point shooting has gone up and stuff, and then Tristan Thompson is just Tristan Thompson. It's just a body. He gets in there, gets rebounds, and like I still don't understand. I didn't watch him this much because obviously he wasn't on my team. And like when the Cavs used to play with LeBron and them, I would watch them during the playoffs mostly. But I'm just so honed in now. Like he misses so many bunnies. It's crazy. I'm just like, dude, you're like 2 feet from the rim. You gotta make it.
It makes me wonder how he played so well against the Warriors in those finals. It's crazy.
LeBron gave that confidence, boy.
For real. That stimulus package, man.
and like going back to our defense, right now we're 6th in points allowed.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. But you can't be 16th in field goal percentage. Do you know what where the Nets are?
What?
Right below us. 0.1. 0.1. It like the Nets team who are giving up like 120 points.
You can't be associated with them in defense. If that's the case, oh my God.
It's crazy. And then it's just like our defense. Our defense is just the one thing I hate. Is just how they're not playing hard. It doesn't feel like when Marcus plays, he's always there. He's just going. He's always constantly just going, and I love it. He's obviously the heartbeat of our team, and I love it.
Yeah.
Other people don't like him because he flops and does all this other antics and stuff. But he's the kind of person who, like, if you have him on your team, you love him.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Team, you hate him.
Exactly.
Marcus shouldn't be the only thing that keeps them from, or that gets them to play hard. It just I don't get it. So
like he has his impact, but should it be that much?
Yeah, exactly. I need Jalen and Jason to really pick it up on like the defensive end, and just like carry them offensively and defensively. I know it's a tall task, but they're so young. I feel like they can do it. And I mean, like, there's encouraging stuff. Obviously, Kemba, he just needs to get into his rhythm. Like, he can't play back-to-back. So, I mean, he'll get there. And then we just need help on the bench, or like a big or a wing to really alleviate Jason and Jalen. Because, like, I mean, they're always going to be on the floor, but we need, like, Shemi is good. I like him. He's a good defender, but he can't be the best person off the bench, and it doesn't make sense.
Semi Ojeleye.
Shemi Ojeleye should be the best player off the bench. He's inconsistent, but like he plays hard, and I like it.
Yeah.
There's just no big impact coming off the bench to help us.
True. And man, so there's a lot to unpack there, but I'll try to hone in on a couple of different questions and things that you brought up. So so let's think about a trade. What do you think this team is missing? What do you think would be possible, or what would you like to see added to this team in order to get them back on track? Because they've been an incredible team in the East the past 4 seasons, even with Jason Tatum and Brown finding their way and being young players. What are they missing? What do you think they could get?
We need a big, like,
okay,
a big to play against Embiid and Giannis, and when we played with the West, like, AD cooked us. I mean, I know we only lost by 1, and we could have won that game, but he was just getting every rebound.
Yeah, anything he wanted.
When we played the Nuggets, Jokic I don't know what I was watching. He was having a field day. 29
in the first half.
Yeah, come on, fam. You only missed 2 shots. That's crazy.
I know.
So we just need a solid big who can rebound, play defense. I don't care about his offense. It would be nice to, like, have a post-up player, but, like, if Vucevic came to us, I mean, it would be nice. Might be, like, he's not the best defender.
Intriguing. Okay.
Obviously, if Drummond got to us with, like, a lower price tag,
yeah,
I'd be fine with that. And then I heard rumors of maybe Harrison Barnes, maybe having us being interested in him. I mean, he's a solid wing, but he's also on, like, the back half of the
season. And has the best agent in the world. That man is getting contracts, boy. Contracts. He got $90 million at the gate with Dallas. Went to Sacramento, and they re-upped him for $90 million. Like, my man is just swimming in it.
Talker. So I just need, my number one concern is having a solid big. I feel like Robert Williams will be that maybe in, like, 2 years. Just
Mm-hmm.
bulks up a little, and then obviously he's so used to
He
playing
has a
in the
lot of
NBA.
high upside. He's just not in the right places all the time.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
So he just has a learning curve. And then Tice, like you said, he might have a ceiling. He could definitely be our backup big. He's a great big to like stretch the floor and stuff. So he could be a good backup big. And I mean, I don't really like Tristan Thompson. Yeah, I get it. He has championship caliber like mentality, but like I don't need it.
Yeah, he's not really pushing the needle for you. So Brown and Tatum are off the table, right?
Who?
Brown and Tatum, they're off the table, right?
You want me to end this call?
Hey man, they're off the table, right?
Absolutely, they're off the table. What the heck?
So it's funny, I was gonna bring it up. Because I don't know if this solves anything, but what if Washington calls you up and says, we're finally gonna trade Brad, give us Jalen Brown? What are you gonna say?
But it's like the same thing though.
A little bit.
It's not the same thing, but it is the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because like it doesn't help the rest of the team.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, Brad can get buckets flawlessly.
Mm-hmm.
Just his offensive game is flawless.
So smooth. Yes.
Yeah.
Easy.
So I mean, it would be cool to see the St. Louis boys play together and like two smooth operators on offense, but then you lose defense because Jalen's a great two-way player.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be, like you said, I would really like to see offensively those two like just going to work and seeing what it would be like. Also, contract-wise, it would be tough. Jalen just signed his extension. Bradley Beal is going to be a free agent after next season if he wants to, because he has a player option, and he's probably going to decline that because he's Bradley Beal. He'll get a max from somebody. So, back to your team again. What do you think? So we talked about what they need, but what's actually plausible? What do you think they need to do to get themselves back on track?
They just need to play harder, and it's tough because Nesmith and Pritchard.
Yeah, it's tough. What do you mean by that? Because a lot of people are like, just play harder. Like, what does that mean?
I just need to see a sense of urgency. Like I said, like Marcus shouldn't be the epitome of playing ball like to the wall. Like he's always playing at 1,000%, but I want to see Jalen like play that hard. He plays kind of smooth and like really hard at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Jason is obviously he's finesse. Like he's that boy cold. So his game is nice, but I want to see that fight, that dog in them that they used to have last year or 2 years ago when they used to play with IT. When Kyrie wasn't there, we went to the to the Eastern Conference Championship.
Yeah,
and Terry was there, and like it was just constantly they were just using their defense to start their offense.
Exactly.
I want them to like, and like they have, and it's gonna be kind of hard because they have Nesmith playing and Pritchard and so like there's so many new faces, like the rotations on defense and stuff kind of get messed up. So it's hard. So they're still adjusting to it. I mean, like, it's only a third of the season and they're still figuring stuff out. So I'm not like too down on it. It's just frustrating as a fan to know that they're struggling right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like them to play Robert more and for everyone to just play faster.
Okay.
Like you have Jason and Jalen Brown's like top 2 fast break points in the league, I think.
Incredible transition player. Incredible.
Yes. So I would like them to play faster, get easier offense. They're young enough to just run it up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then play good defense and then see where that takes you.
Can we get Taco some minutes?
He's still a project.
Oh, man. He's like –
we love Taco time.
He's like my guy Bull. My guy Bull can't even get no time in Denver. I don't know what he did to be in Mike Malone's doghouse. But anyway, so just final question on them. So if everything works well, what's the ceiling for this team? And what is your pretty much realistic expectation for how the rest of the season will go?
Their ceiling, I don't know. I hate to say it, with so many good teams at the top right now, it might be just second round.
And that sucks to say.
Yeah.
But like Philly's hooping and the fucking Nets, man. They're just there. Yeah.
And Giannis is always a problem for us for some reason.
Yeah.
I mean, we would have a good chance with we wouldn't have a good chance, but defending the Nets, it would, like, we have Marcus, Jalen, and Jason to put on the 3 stars, but they're obviously elite.
They're gonna get theirs.
Yeah. So, and then I don't know if we'd have the offense to stay up with them. And then the Sixers. I mean, we're weird with the Sixers.
Yeah, it's a good matchup. You guys go back and forth.
Yeah, it's very strange because, like, we'll beat them in the playoffs, but, like, get dominated in the regular season. So that one's up in the air. I mean, we lost to them this year twice without Jason, and they were pretty close games, so that was promising. So, I mean, I feel like second round would be plausible. And for the rest of the season, I just want them to play harder, play harder, good defense, and then have Tatum and Brown just continue to develop and really lead them. Because like they're great. Tatum's passing has got better this year. Jalen.
Yeah, he's up. He's hovering around 7 a game almost. Yeah.
And like Brown obviously hit a big jump. He's only one of 5 players in this year shoot 25 points, 50-40 splits.
Yeah.
So I mean that's phenomenal.
Yes, it is.
And like I like it when both of them have. If one of them has a bad game, the other one will pick him up, and then the other one will just do other stuff. Like, he'll continue to be aggressive, but he'll rebound, play defense, just get other people shots and stuff. And
no, exactly.
So and my goal before the season was for them to be so good that both of them would be on any of the defensive teams.
Okay.
So, that's still my goal. Jalen maybe just get on it.
Yeah.
He's been so well, and I would like Jason. He's elite offensively, but I would like him to be that two-way player, so that it is kind of like that Kawhi, PG in the East Coast.
True.
So, and with Marcus, that would be great. So like it's just 3 dogs on defense while they're getting theirs on offense.
I was gonna ask if like if you could big 3 it with someone who's like plausible. I was gonna maybe say if you would put Marcus and Kemba together and try to get Bradley or something and give them like a bunch of picks, and if you'd put those 3 together and just say, hey, let's try it and see what happens, would you go for it? I don't know if you want to give all that up, but maybe it's something to think about. I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, I love Kemba. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that. It's just Marcus is a big person on our team. It's kind of annoying. It's kind of annoying how much we enjoy having him on our team.
Yeah.
And like
it's like a gift and a curse almost.
Yeah, when he plays, like, it's annoying some of the stuff he does, some of the shots he takes, but like he makes up for it so much in the other minutes that he plays.
He really does.
And he's just such a good glue player. And you obviously, every team needs that.
Yeah.
You just need that one guy who brings it all together, and I feel like he's constantly that guy for our team.
If Golden State called you up today and said, hey, give us Marcus Smart, we'll give you the Minnesota pick, what do you say?
I mean, we already had a bunch of picks. We've been there. I mean, obviously with those Nets picks, we got Jalen and Jason. Then I'm not too familiar with all the college players that are coming up this upcoming year, but I feel like this is that, not win now, but just got to go for it with this shortened season. Maybe we just catch one and get hot, and if we can just add that right piece, and then but I don't know about a pick.
Oh, okay. I think the best case is if you hit in the second half, Kemba turns back into Kemba.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then you have a true three-headed monster, and then things start rolling for you offensively, and then that can pick up your defense. Marcus comes back healthy. There's a scenario for you guys to get back into it in the second half of the year, get people more healthy, and then things can start to roll from there. So it's been a rough start so far. It's been choppy a little bit, but you have two of the youngest and best two-way players in basketball already averaging 25 a night and just continuing to expand their games in different ways. So the potential is there. So there's a lot going for this team. Do you have any other thoughts on them?
No, like you said, yeah, there's always that one team like after All-Star break just really fix it up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe we could be that team. Kemba has enough time to rest with that All-Star break. It's good for him. Jason, I know he's struggling right now with his lungs because of COVID. He's having a hard time.
Yeah.
So, and then Jalen have a hard time or some time to get that knee inflammation down a little bit. And so maybe we just pick it up. Everything starts clicking right after All-Star break.
Yeah, exactly. So there's your report on the Boston Celtics so far, and that will be how we close out the pod. So once again, I want to thank my guy Manny for hopping on. Appreciate you for getting on the pod. Won't be the last time. We're going to have a lot more basketball to talk about as the season goes on. So appreciate having you on, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And, I mean, if you could get me and Jarwin on here with you, I mean, that's dope, like old times. Maybe get a little bit of Ralph.
Oh, you might have to do it. I might have to do that one time just to do it and see what happens, because I got to check in on weird Mavericks fan Ralph and then have Jarwin continually talk about Steph and how great Andrew Wiggins is. So that'll be fun. That'll be fun to talk about. So thank you, everybody, for listening and watching. This was episode 46 of the Good Look podcast with my guy Manny. I'm your host, Leonard Pinkney, a.k.a. Agent P, a.k.a. L Pinkney. We'll have another episode. We'll know who the starters are next week, and we'll continue to discuss things going forward. So make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share, all those things with the pod, whether it's on the audio only or the video versions, and we'll keep things pushing from there. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you have a good one.
When you getting sent home off a good look, good look, good look, good look, good look, good look, good look. It's the Good Look podcast. It's the Good Look podcast.